11 a.m. Eastern. VO Radio, it's here for you.
Welcome to Let's Talk VO, live here on VO Radio. Interact with us by texting 970-682-3424. That's 970-682-3424. Or use the Ask a Question button located on your radio player window. You can also email us using the icon on the apps. Now, it's time for Let's Talk VO on VO Radio.
Hey everybody, welcome to VO Radio in double stereo. Double stereo.
That was a weird loop. I don't know what that was all about.
Fun. It was a triple time VO Radio, which is what you guys need. Thank you guys for tuning in. Welcome to VO Radio Online and Let's Talk VO, the show that talks everything about the voice acting community that you need to know. I am Deb Monroe. I am joined by an excellent panel today. Of course, as always, Bev Standing. Thanks for joining us. Peter Drew, Stacey Barrow, the voice of VO Online, and of course, Anthony Reese, the other voice of VO Online, and the reason we're here today. So thank you guys so much for joining us. We have some exciting things coming up in today's episode. So we are welcoming you to join us, and one way you can do that is by sharing your contribution of questions and things that you want to talk about, questions, comments. You know what, you can even join in on the show. You can actually join in with us. It's insane. You can join in by Zoom. There's all sorts of great stuff going on. So make sure you're always checking out the website. It's always changing. But you guys can join us by the website itself or by the app. And there's lots of ways that you guys can do that by, like I said, joining in on the Zoom video link or the Zoom call-in number. So that way you're a part of the show. You can also text us. So 970-682-3424. That's 970-682-3424. You can also use the Ask and Record Question button, which you can find again on the app, and there's a little info icon there. Then you can use that and email us on that app as well. So there's lots of different ways in way you can email us or call us in or just be a part of the show. Either way, you can also do the old-fashioned way, of course, ask@voradio.online.com. We are excited to thank our sponsors. Without you guys, things wouldn't be possible, and we thank you for all you do to contribute back to our industry. And we are also now live. You guys can actually watch us. We're live before, but now you can actually watch us on camera. So make sure you're checking out our Zoom channel as well. That way, our Zoom feed. So our sponsors, VO VoiceOver Extra, the VoiceOver Resource Guide, the VoiceOver Collective, and of course, Nava. Now we are going to listen to what you have to say and listen to our email listener question time.
You're listening to VO Radio. The views, opinions, and insights shared are not necessarily those of other panelists, guests, and contributors on VO Radio and its broadcast programs. Advice, tips, opinions, and legal suggestions are based on industry experience of the individual co-host, panelist, guest, or contributor. These opinions and comments are not endorsed by or verified by VO Radio and its operators. Listener discretion is advised.
All right, so
The best music ever made.
If you're like most voice talent today, you're wondering various things relating to your voiceover career. Well, VO Radio has your answers. Here's more questions answered by our panelists live on Let's Talk VO here on VO Radio.
Listen and learn. Internet radio for the voice artist, just like you.
all right, we have Andy here. Now, you're going to help me. My Canadian ass doesn't know. Is it Mississippi? Is it Missouri? What is MI?
Is it
Missing in action? See, look at how many options there are for me. I don't know. I'm a happy Canadian. We're a few of us on here. Anyway, what Andy asked us is, are there different mics for male and females, or some better for certain genres? That's a great question, because mic selection is really actually important. But you know what's interesting is, in the beginning, I think it's changed a lot. Back in the day, you could kind of rent out microphones in a sense, not even pay for it, but actually rent out them from your music studios or music stores in your local areas. And you could test mics out. But back then they didn't really have voice acting microphones. They had singing microphones. And now that everybody's on board, there's a million choices. But I think, and I'm sure the panel have all their own opinion, and I'll ask everybody theirs as well. But I feel like there is certain sounds that can cater better to a masculine or feminine sound, but everyone is completely individual to the microphone. So there isn't one necessarily all females sound good on this, or all feminines sound good on this, or all masculines will sound good on this. There are some that work better than others, but it really does become, as you grow in your craft, in my opinion, that's when you should start getting fussy about what mic you're using, other than a proper mic in the beginning. And the reason I say that is because you need to experience it for a while first, and then you'll know the different sounds. You might not hear as clear of an ear when you start off what the different sounds are for you. I think the biggest maybe conversation in what you're saying is actually about sibilance, because sibilance is more a feminine sound, and some microphones are very sensitive to sibilance. So they will not be as good for people with sibilance, whether they're feminine or masculine, it doesn't really matter. And so you have to watch out what kind of microphones will be universal for your voice or be less sensitive to certain things than others. And I'm just going to give an example and then pass it off to my fellow actors here. I have an MXL 990, which is my favorite microphone. It's cheap as hell. So it's my favorite microphone to recommend because it's super cheap and super universal. I used to have like 10 different microphones, as most of us will. I guarantee Anthony does as well. And we're just little geeks. We're tech geeks. We are equipment geeks. It's just part of our being. And I've tried on every microphone. But my blessing is I've had so many students in my house. In the beginning was always in person. And so I've had a lot of people try on all my microphones. And I found that MXL was the most universal for everyone. And it was at the time $69. Now it's like $169. And that was actually referred to me by George Whittam. So I find it the best universal starting mic for anybody, no matter feminine or masculine. So now I go out and I buy a Neumann. My Neumann, I'm very excited about. I've spent lots of money. I make lots of good money now. So it's time for me to invest. I'm going to invest in this. Well, now, don't you know, I need a preamp, and then I need this, and now it's too sibilant. And now for the first time in my whole career, I get complaints about my sibilance. And so my voice is changing too. So our voice changes, and the microphone might have to change with us too. And that's also something I think to keep in mind. But I'm back to my MXL 90 again. It's so stupid. And I love my Sennheiser 416. Can't complain about that one at all. Anthony, why don't you talk to us about that? You've got a lot of tech background. So why don't you talk to us about that?
You touched on a lot of points, and Bev and Dawn made a good reminder for us all panelists not to be redundant. So you made a lot of good points. But I would tell you like this. Was it Andy? Andy? The reality is, I think it's a male, Andy. I'm not sure. It could be a girl. I don't know. But there, back in the day, like you were saying, Deb, you used to be able to work with Audio Technicas and Sures and Sennheisers, and there was like 5 or 6 stable, pretty much what we call workhorse or stable microphones. Then along came everything. Marshall went in the industry, Behringer, everybody out there now. The reality was, back in the day, you had performance microphones, even the old school performance handheld mics. And then when people got into the whole outside of broadcast facilities and not going to studios and developed their own home studios, all of a sudden everybody got into the condenser or ribbon or whatever you want to call it, a microphone environment. Now there's dozens and dozens of different microphones that are all fairly competitive. So what I think is going on now is there's so many options out there. People get confused, and it might be what Andy's thinking here. There is different microphones for different responses from the microphone. There are some mics that make you sound warmer. They're great for narration. There are microphones who have a higher, if you will, threshold. They can take more screaming and yelling, and they're great for hard sells or screamos or acting or character work. There are microphones also that are just kind of the middle of both. It does whatever. There are other microphones that are really good for the male voice because they bring out that bass or that baritone two or baritone voice, that lower frequency. There are other mics who are really good for females. So there's a whole variety of different reasons that you would want a different mic. What I recommend to people, and I tell them, trial and error, man. Go out and get yourself a mic, bring it in, play with it a little bit. If you don't like it, send it back to Sweetwater or Musician's Friend, or a lot of these places have no return questions asked type of thing, until you find a few microphones that you like what they're better at, and performances for this and performances are for that. I ended up with about 35 microphones at one time, especially back in the day when I had 5 or 6 studios in my partnership facility. And I had one facility, it was more for narration. I had one booth that was more for broadcast stuff. And each one of the mics in those were relevant to that particular genre. It's just they responded better. But then eventually I found that there wasn't a need for all of different styles like that. All the mics excelled enough to where you didn't have to really be as picky and choosy. It's kind of like a keyboard player, which I was for a lot of years. I had a Roland, I had a Korg, I had all different types of mics. I had Yamahas, I had whatever, all different types of mics, Moos and whatever, Hammonds and stuff, so I could play organ sounds. Then all of a sudden sampling kicked in and we didn't need all these. They were more for visual. It looked cool having a rig with 7 or 8 keyboards. Really, they were slaves. I had 1 or 2 master keyboards that pulled sounds from different MIDI, if you will, from each one of the different rigs. Because I found that most of them became sampling enough to where you could sample sounds. So what am I getting at? Yeah, you can have a bunch of different microphones, but you're going to find that you end up with, like Deb was talking about, 3 or 4 mics, pretty much your entire, like guitar players have multiple guitar players or have multiple guitars or axes, as we call it. Drummers have different skins. They have different rides, they have different cymbals they like from different types of cymbal lines. So I guess when I'm tangling on a bit, and I'm going to wrap by saying, I just would play around and, Andy, and see what you like, what works well for you. And if you want to assign it to a specific genre, have a little interface that you can, especially a little mixer interface that goes into or out to your USB goes into it. So you can have 3 or 4 mics connected at one time and just bring up or pot up, if you will, what mic you want to work with in that particular environment. And you will find 3 or 4 different mics fit different genres, fit different males and females. So I know I tanged a bit, but that's kind of a little bit of brainstorming for anybody listening out there.
I think they can also go, if you have a major market, if you live in a major market, you can probably go to the stores, guys, and try on some of the better mics now for us. So you're not having to take them home. But remember, that's not in your studio environment. And that makes a difference again on the sound. Difference. Anybody else have anything to contribute that they would add? Stacey?
I have 3 things to say. 3 short things.
Oh my goodness.
One, it's kind of like if you're going to run some races, like a few marathons, maybe some triathlons, and you need some professional running shoes. They're tailored to you. It's going to be an individual choice.
That's right.
If you do a lot of video games, you might be louder and doing more activity and things where you're away from the mic. Maybe for that genre, people might have a certain mic that they prefer, and maybe you'd like that one and you want to try it, versus doing commercials or other things where you might be a little closer to the mic and sometimes have a little more intimate of a setting. So there's a difference. But what I would suggest, have an audio check with an audio engineer. We have a lot of overlapping industries with VO Radio, and with different coaches that we have that are contributors or people who specialize in audio, sound, audio engineering, sound design, and all that stuff. Maybe you can make a sample for them, start communicating, and they can critique you on what do they hear. Does your booth sound okay? And how do you sound on your mic in your booth? Specifically. So just a suggestion. What about you, Peter?
Yeah, the most important thing is the room that you're going to be using the microphone in. Acoustically, it has to sound good, dead, but not too dead. Then the microphone itself, they have as Anthony was alluding to, bottom end, they have boosts in certain frequency ranges. So you, like with your Neumann, is that an 87, Deb?
No, it's a 103.
A 103. They can tend to be a little bit sibilant. They have a boost up around between 4,000 and 8,000 hertz. So you're going to get a little bit of sibilance in there. And if you have a sibilance to begin with, then it's going to be accentuated. Then you have to put a de-esser in. It gets kind of complicated. But it starts with the room. As far as price point, if you're starting out, you can get a decent mic, as Deb said, for $169 up to.
I'll be careful with most of the ones that are that price. Just
well, yeah, no. I was about to say you might want to move up into a little higher price range. I have a KSM 32 Shure go-to microphone. It's got a little bit of that boost I was talking about, and again, with condenser mics, you have to worry about proximity effect. If you're a guy, you get too close to the mic, all of a sudden it gets boomy and sounds too big. You got to learn to move back a little bit. the old fist from the microphone about that
5
far.
inches, yeah.
People want to get right up on that microphone. Well, you're losing a lot of your actual voice in there. It all becomes a bottom end. And for women, you have to watch that boost, that little frequency nudge they have to give it a little brightness. And every microphone has its own signatures to it, frequency wise.
Nice.
So that's what I would look at. And price wise, and you were talking about loud, maybe a dynamic microphone instead of a condenser microphone, or a 316, as you were saying, Deb, as far as
416, the 416.
By 416.
It actually becomes a directional,
Yeah.
not a dynamic, because a dynamic you would use for singing more so.
Right. But for loudness, for sound pressure, that's why Robert Plant used an SM57. I mean, he recorded the early albums with a handheld microphone. He stood there with his microphone and screamed into it. And it takes high sound.
I use the same mic. Bev, what do you want to contribute?
I'm so glad that I'm last because I am the least technical person in this room. What I will say is that I started with an Audio Technica 2025. I don't think they make them anymore. They still have Audio Technica, but not that specific mic. And it was $110 and it served me extremely well. And then I went to a conference and they had a mic shootout. And I couldn't tell the difference listening back to the different mics I heard because I just, it was slight, it was subtle, but there was an engineer in the room and it might have been George, I think. And he's like, you can hear this, you can hear that. And it taught me how to listen to what I'm supposed to be listening
Train
for.
ear, yeah.
And the difference for me is I went to a Neumann 102 because a 103 I was too sibilant, but a 102 I wasn't for whatever reason. And we really tested it by, Silly Sally went to the SATA, whatever. And then I got mofo because everybody was getting, started posting that they were getting Sennheiser 416s and I had to buy a 416. And I was so concerned that people were going to notice the difference and nobody did. But I will say, listening to people, one of the questions Andy from Michigan said was, are there certain genres? And I know if you're on a shotgun directional 416 and you're doing animation,
That's right.
It doesn't work. You can't have that mic. So yes, there are certain mics for certain genres.
Well, you actually can, because Mark, for example, prefers his 416 when he's doing animation.
You learn how to.
Because I said the same thing to him, because I find, like, for me, I like my 416 for when I travel. What a 416 does that's different, guys, is it helps isolate the background noise a bit more. And so it's a little more sensitive as to where where your head and body are. So you have to really know what you're doing with that kind of mic. But it is a blessing where it does cancel out a lot of that back stuff. So those of you that have really bad background issues you have to deal with permanently, sometimes that's a better choice, and they're not cheap. Some of those mics aren't cheap. But I think what's really important about this, just to wrap it up, guys, is, we're talking about genders and we're talking about genres. And it is two sides to the question. There are different mics that they like to use for different genres. You'll see that in the studios, but it does become engineer preferences a lot of the times.
It is,
and what you're good at doing. And then also with the genders, I would say we're in a society now, it doesn't matter if you're male or female, because I have a big boomy voice and I also can handle U87, and you know what I mean? So it just depends on whether you're a baritone, whether you're a soprano, whether you have a higher pitched voice. So always it's about frequencies in our own voices, as well as it's the frequencies in the mics and those things competing against each other. So you're looking for that mic that suits you the best, and that's the bottom line. Why don't we take them for break? We're going to come right back with some more.
Hang on, let me throw this in real quick before we do that. This guy, Gary, wrote in just now, and he said, basically, I agree with everything you guys are saying about the microphone. I've been an engineer for 29 years out of the New York market. I can tell you firsthand that Deb's comment and Peter's comment are definitely something to keep in mind. When you're working in an intimate environment, like Stacey was saying a few minutes ago, you want to consider that you're not in a vacuum or what we call a soundproof, or what you call a soundproof booth. You're working in a controlled environment. So your microphone will have a lot to do with the environment in the room. When you're working in a vacuum booth or a soundproof recording facility, you have more room because you're usually 3 to 4 feet off the microphone. So that is something to keep in mind, is the microphone should adhere to your environment. So I think, Deb, that's what you and Peter were kind of saying, right?
Yeah, absolutely. We all agree with that. Your environment really does make a difference. That's where if you test them out in someone else's studio, in someone else's shop, that it's not, unfortunately, the fairest comparison just for that reason.
Awesome. Yep.
Go to
Now
break.
you can take us out. Good. Thank you, Gary.
Oh my gosh, let's go to break, guys. We're going to be back with more VO love right after this.
This week's Nava News Minute is brought to you by
The darkest hour when the night unfolds, I'm a lioness ready to take control.
Hi, I'm Bev Standing, a voice actor in Canada, and I started my journey in the VO world in 2008 and have not looked back.
No one can hold me back.
If you want to talk to me personally about coaching, just message me at bev@bevstanding.com, or you can contact me through my website, bevstanding.com.
No second guessing.
Hey everybody, NAVA President Tim Friedlander here with your NAVA News Minute update. The SAG-AFTRA interactive strike is still making progress with AI protections in video games, and NAVA was excited to host a live town hall with some of the members of the Interactive Agreement Negotiating Committee. If you want to rewatch the town hall to learn more about the video game strike, you can do so on our website at navavoices.org under the Resources tab. NAVA debuted a new Best Practices for Kids in VO page this month, which includes resources for parents and a new contract writer just for minors. We are so excited to be a part of VO Atlanta this year, and we'll be hosting a special NAVA panel. Check out all the classes taught by our amazing board members, and visit us at our sponsor table all weekend long. We're also thrilled to announce that we awarded 5 VO Atlanta scholarships this year. Special thanks to Joe Zija and Jennifer Sun Bell for donating 2 of those scholarships. And finally, we're continuing to make headway on AI legislation at the state and federal levels. Thank you to everyone for all your support. To find out more info on NAVA, visit our website at navavoices.org. Thanks a lot.
Somebody has to be the best in the business.
Elevate your voice with NAVA, the National Association of Voice Actors. As a nonprofit association, NAVA is dedicated to the advocacy and protection of all our voices and for championing the equitable advancement of the voice acting industry. Visit the website at navavoices.org today. NAVA, together they can protect the future of voice acting and make our voices heard. Your voiceover career is dynamic and moving fast, and market trends for voice actors are constantly changing. So having the right resources to stay on top of your game is critical to your success. That's why VO pros and newcomers alike rely on VoiceOverExtra.com daily as their one-stop resource for voiceover success. Cut through the social media noise and find the information you need fast at VoiceOverExtra.com. It's the right resource for you now.
It's officially fall, y'all, and that means the new fall-winter issue of the VoiceOver Resource Guide is out now. Issue number 78, we've created a fully updated special video game strike edition of the Vorg for you. 3 pages dedicated to strike info. So get yours today at one of our pickup locations near you, or head to thevorg.net. Get one shipped out, and we'll plant a tree when you do. How nice is that?
Let's Talk VO Live on VO Radio. Interact with the show by texting 970-682-3424 or email your question to the show using the app email icon, radio player window, ask a question button, or send an email to ask@voradioonline.com. Let's Talk VO Live on VO Radio. It's here for you.
Welcome back to VO Radio. Let's Talk VO is what we're doing here, and we can be seen now all over YouTube. Isn't that lovely? And you too can be seen all over YouTube. What happened there? You just you want to be seen? Okay.
You said she could be seen. She disappeared.
She just disappeared.
She's like, bye.
Bye. I'm leaving now. Yeah, everybody can be seen. If you would like, you can join us via the video link on Zoom, and you can call in the Zoom number. Do that on the app that we have, our lovely app. And you can text us to talk to us, 970-682-3424. You can ask and record a question with the Ask and Record a Question button. And there's all kinds of ways to get to us, info icon, then email icon on the app. And you can email us at ask@voradioonline.com. So that's how you can get in touch with us. And also, we have coming up on Wednesday, a guest, a VIP guest, Angela Olfest. And Angela is an audiobook e-learning narrator. She's done video games, very experienced. She's done over 60 titles on Audible. She's done a lot of audio books. So she's going to be with us talking about what she's doing and offering her take on the business, I presume. And that's coming up on Wednesday on Let's Talk VO Radio. So let's talk some more about listener email and check in with the next installment of that. Anthony?
The best music ever made.
If you're like most voice talent today, you're wondering various things relating to your voiceover career. Well, VO Radio has your answers. Here's more questions answered by our panelists live on Let's Talk VO here on VO Radio.
Listen and learn. Internet radio for the voice artists, just like you.
Okay, Shane from Illinois has a question for the panel. Do prospects really care if you are an award winner? Very interesting question. Do they care that you have 1 award, 20 awards, 100 awards, or they just want to make sure you can do the job? What's the panel think? Who's first?
Well, and we threw this one in because we thought it'd be short and sweet because we do have an audition underground to get to. So let's go around and do a speed round if you want.
Okay.
Deb, what's your opinion on this? We'll go to Bev and work our way
I think
down.
we actually did talk about this another time, but of course,
Yeah.
everybody do all the time. It's always changing. I think that it matters to most of us in the industry, but not necessarily to the clients. That doesn't mean it doesn't have some clout, of course. I think Sovas especially is getting a little bit more like an academy clout, which is really great for us to have that notoriety. But I think it's not like if the producer hires us, they make more money, and that's what makes the Academy Awards worth something, because now they're going to make more money if that celebrity's in it. So it doesn't work the same, I don't think. I don't think it matters at all, but I think it's wonderful for us to be celebrated. That's what we love, is that appreciation, and it shows some appreciation.
Who's next?
I'll jump in. Because I am an award winner, and yeah,
Me too.
and I don't think it increased the amount of work I got. It helps with notability. I mean, it gives you something to post about. It shows that you're competitive in the industry. You get to meet other people. They're fun events to go to. It's kind of a little pat on my back to say, hey, I got recognized for something I did. But honestly, if you don't ever get an award, it's okay.
Right.
I'll leave it at that. It's okay.
Well, and the clients don't know anything about our award companies, really.
I think
Stacey, do you have any thoughts?
Yeah. It just, whether you know what it is or you don't, you're new in the business or you're not, or you're in casting, it just, your name goes by and it just shows that you did something, you got something, whether someone knows what it is or they don't. So it's just something, That's what I think.
Yeah, it's mainly
something.
it's something. You put it on your CV and your info you send out to prospects, and they see it. Oh, won an award. That's nice, and that's pretty much what it comes down to. It means something to us, maybe, but not so much to them.
Right. Like I think my 2 cents is like we talked about before, Deb. I know you remember this a couple of times. People have asked this. I think it's nice that peer recognition. It's nice to have your peers recognize your ability. It's kind of like what the People's Choice Award. What's the other one? The Acting Academy, SAG, and whatever the award, the Oscar, whatever, is from the industry, and that makes you feel like they're recognizing your abilities. I'm wondering whether or not, though, I've never really had a client over the years say to me, I want to work with so-and-so because I see he or she got the so-and-so award. I've never had that happen. However, I know as a consumer, there is something maybe a little bit that leans me towards a movie if it says, Oscar nominated Mel Gibson or whatever. It does make me, even though I don't know who the actor is necessarily, I know who Mel Gibson is, of course. But so I don't know, maybe prospects, maybe not necessarily publishing that they care. Maybe it does have a little bit of clout if you have an award or winner of a so-and-so award on your website. I guess maybe, I don't know.
It might instill a little more confidence
Yeah, I don't
because
know. I'm not
that
sure.
you've been recognized by your peers, so maybe there's a little more confidence there.
Right.
that you can do the job.
Maybe.
Just a little.
Interesting. Any other comments about that, Peter? That's a good question. Who was that?
That's Shane from
Shane in
Illinois.
Illinois.
I would like to say that I have one award I am extremely proud of, and that's the Unicorn Award from VO Atlanta.
Yeah.
And that's for being someone who pays it forward. Hello. Prior to being a coach and stuff, right? Just somebody who's in the business and just, does what we do and helps and is kind and, just is always kind of involved in the community. And, it was a really big acknowledgement for me. There's 3 nominations every year, and it's Christy Harst, Emma O'Neill, and Patrick Kirshner this year, and they're all wonderful, and I don't envy the judges.
So the Unicorn Award, and I should ask Jay Michael the other day when I was on the talking with him in private, is a Unicorn Award for trendsetters in the industry or for those paying love and paying it forward in the industry? What is it really for?
People that are paying it forward, people that are helping, that are always just there, little things like, hey, I need a Source Connect check. Who's available? I am. I know it took your time. Hey, can you just listen to this? Sure. Hey, I know how to fix that. Let me pop in. Hey, here's a client that I can't work, but anything you can do to share and be beneficial in the industry. It's just helping, being kind, being respectful, and being all those things. And Jen Henry was the original unicorn. And
congrats, Jen. I didn't know that.
Yeah, and then there were 3 nominees every year since then. So yeah.
Cool.
Jeff Gelder from the Holiday Magic. He was also a unicorn recipient the year before. I think that last.
Really cool.
I think I would just like to say this is that a lot of people are very uneducated about awards. Awards for a lot of people, the Academies, the Geminis, the Junos, the Golden Globes, they pay for those awards, whether it's a client pays for them or the talent. So for us, it really is an appreciation. I'd like to use the word appreciation. It's not about ego. It's actually just feeling appreciated for what you do, and it's a nice give back.
Nice. Stacey, I know you've been trying to chime in. Go for it.
Oh yeah, when I was newer and new on LinkedIn, Bev, you were like the first voiceover person that actually maybe commented on, you know what I mean? Because I saw you won something and I don't remember what it was, but I wrote to you and you were very nice and you wrote back to me and I was like, she wrote back to me. It is something. It is something.
Awesome. Hey, Peter, what do you guys think? Want to go ahead and do get into the audition?
Yes, review? Audition Underground.
Let me go ahead and get the opener going here.
There you go.
This week's Underground Audition is brought to you by...
I'm Stacey Barrow, and I'm the imaging voice here on VO Radio, as well as a feature contributor. My feature is Top of Mind, where I talk about what's top of mind for those who are new to VO. I do all different types of voiceover, and I'm also bilingual in English and Spanish. I truly love all things voiceover, and I definitely love to talk about it. So reach out to me anytime here at VO Radio Online, or you can also find me at voiceoversbystacey.com. You're catching VO Radio.
Hey crew over at VO Radio, this is Samantha D'Souza, and I just wanted to say thank you so much for your feedback on my VO Radio audition. It really helped a lot, and of course it's going to help with my future auditions too. Thank you once again, and I hope you all have a really, really great week, and I will continue to listen to VO Radio. Thanks once again. See ya.
We are VO Radio. Every voiceover talent, from beginners to intermediate to veterans, want to have feedback on their audition. This can be a very costly endeavor. VO Radio has just the solution with our Audition Underground. Here's another voiceover talent brave enough to enter the Audition Underground zone on VO Radio.
Okay, so we're going to be featuring somebody who just submitted this past week. His name is Keith Clink Scales. I looked it up. So is that typo? It sure isn't. It's Keith Clink Scales. Clink.
Great name.
Say that 1,000 times.
Clink Scales. Clink
Scales.
Yeah, you got it. Keith Clink Scales, and he is submitting for the Emico review. And if you want to be part of this, all you do is go to the website, go to the listener area, go to Audition Underground on the participation, pick a script, submit it just like Keith did here, and we'll review it as well live here on Let's Talk VO. So with no further ado, let's go ahead. Everybody got your ears on? Let's see what we got. Here we go. Here's Keith.
Crystal clear gasoline. redefined for cars that benefit from premium gasoline. We spend hundreds of hours in the lab to assure your engine burns only the best quality fuel product from the tank to the fuel injectors. Amoco Ultimate. You should and can expect more from a leader.
There you go. So that's Keith Clink Scales doing the Amoco spot here on VO Radio. Let's go ahead and start with Bev Standing this time around. Bev, what's your thoughts about that? I know she's like, wait a minute, you caught me looking.
I don't cast, but that's okay. So what I loved about that was just your nice, calm, slower pace, which is what it asks for. You did sound intelligent. I would have liked to hear a little more of an opinion. I know you stated it all, but I would have liked to heard things like the word benefit. I would have liked to have had a little more of a hug on that word and being a little picky. But I felt it was a little too monotone the whole way through. I'll be very simple.
Good
but I liked
feedback.
it. I mean, it was a good pace and everything. Just a little more life.
Deb Moreau.
Yeah, really nice voice, my friend. Thank you. I liked your approach on it, actually. I thought it was very clever because you were trying to give a confident read without pushing too much and not doing too much. And I think that's a good choice here. I agree with Bev. It does need some movement. So the opinion for me, what I loved was you have two gasolines right in a row, Crystal Clear gasoline and then from Premium Gasoline. And that is a little off-putting for us for voice acting because it's two things right in a row that it's unnecessary writing in a way. It's a little overwritten in that regard. But you actually stretched out gasoline and made it a little more smooth on the last second one. So I like that you changed that up a bit. Normally I would look for something like that. So I was glad that you did. I think you follow the punctuation too much. Stop following the punctuation. You don't need to, even though other people will tell you to. And be more unpredictable, right? That will give you more spontaneity. So it sounds like it's just coming from your voice, your mind, your thinking while you're speaking, because you're not trying to be an announcer here. It's very obvious. That's the way you're giving me giving us the read. So no point. That's where opinion can matter. Where I think your opinion was the most important and it was missing and was really thrown away too much. I love a throwaway read. I do. But when we spend hours of hundreds of hours in the lab to assure your engine burns only the best quality fuel from the tank to the fuel injectors, that's where I think you just need a little bit more opinion. I would have been fine with where you were otherwise. That's where you could use speeding up a little bit, slowing down a little bit, and again, not following those commas so much so you can go on top of something. I think all that would just envelop it nicely. But you would intrigue me because I know I could direct you. I would know how to direct you from that. But if you want to advance just a little bit more opinion, I agree with Bev 100%. Change your pacing and don't be so predictable in the pace.
You know, and a lot of talent fall into that old school, follow the punctuation and commas and period marks and the way I wrote it. And the reality is they if they're not really experienced copywriters, they write for the reader. They don't really write for the voiceover talent or the narrator. So take ownership of it. Don't be afraid to read it and deliver it how you feel it and how you want to do with it. Like you said, Stacey Barrow.
As well, though, can I just add to that, Anthony? I think it's important for us to understand that from a casting perspective, and I know you know this firsthand, Anthony, we hear the same read over and 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 over again. And if everybody follows the punctuation exactly, then we're hearing the same exact delivery over and over. And so there's surprises every once in a while that can come with creative ability or liberty.
Finding those natural stalls. Stacey Barrow, what do you think?
Smooth, low, jazzy voice. I just think your voice fits this perfectly, you know. Absolutely, like you're great for this spot. I guess, who are you talking to? That's the main thing I was wondering. Are you talking to me as the listener? Because I wasn't quite sure, and maybe that's where the opinion comes in. And if you have a little more clarity in your mind who you're talking to, maybe I'll feel it. That's
nice. You know, and he reminds me of a talent that I worked quite a bit back in the day on Lou Johnson. Have you heard they called him the Golden Voice? Really strong bass, double bass, lower voice. I mean, he's got that smooth as silk kind of thing going on. That's kind of what I feel you're heading to, Keith. I don't know how much experience you have because I truly didn't do a lot of research. And I don't think any of us really research a lot. We like to go in this somewhat blind, so we're not biased. But the reality is you have a certain flavor that just demands, listen to me. I'm cool. I'm golden. I'm crystal. And that's what we're playing with you on. Expand that further, harness that and run with that and take all this food for thought. Peter Drew, what you're thinking?
Well, Stacey mentioned who you're talking to. I mean, who are you talking to me? I mean, what's your point of view? And just being the announcer doesn't quite cut it. What's your relationship to the product? Who are you? Why are you telling us this? And then maybe if you get sort of that, okay, I have an idea who this person is, and you leave that up to you, then you have somewhere to jump from instead of just reading the words. And as Deb said about ignoring the punctuation, I saw something online. It's about audiobooks, and somebody was talking about, maybe it was Pat Fraley, I don't remember, but he had a list of what you should do in an audiobook. One of them was ignore the punctuation. And it's very true, because we don't speak in complete sentences with commas and with semicolons and colons. We do what I'm doing right now, trying to think what we're going to say, and then we say it. So point of view and ignore that punctuation. Yeah.
Which Deb would agree, probably, because she definitely is with me on that corner for sure. That doesn't mean become chop suey either. People don't chop up your stuff, break up the context or whatever. We want you to put that stall and that natural rhythm and that beat, and what I call word whipping, what I was taught way back. We want you to have that movement going on, but I think Deb might agree. Do you agree with that? Don't chop it up so much that it sounds like
you definitely got to be careful, because what happens is we overwork copy too, right? So it's like thinking of like when we're speaking, and then I get excited and I interrupted myself. Right. And then that's the kind of ignoring the punctuation stuff. I'm not saying just do it in that exact way I just did it, but what you know is that sometimes we run a couple thoughts together. Sometimes we run a couple sentences together, especially if you're someone like me who talks way too much. And so be attentive to real speaking patterns, which I think you brought up well, Peter. And our real speaking patterns are not announcer speaking patterns.
Right. Exactly.
Right. Or casual conversation. Really good. There you go. So thanks for participating, Keith Clinkscales. That was a great feedback. Hopefully you out there listening.
What's a Clinkscale?
Yeah.
Go to Hogan's Heroes.
Right? All I can think is, I say nothing. All I can see is that Hogan's
Shirts.
Anyways, if you want to participate just like Keith just did, go to the website, check out the Audition Underground section, read the script, send it through. We'll give you some feedback, constructive feedback. Sharing the love is all we're trying to do. But great job. We really want to say, hey, way to go to Keith out there and thank him for being part of the Audition Underground here on Let's Talk VO. And I think, Stacy, what do you think? Should I go ahead and get the opening going and we'll do that? Who's That Voice?
Yes, it's time for Who's That Voice?
This week's Who's That Voice is sponsored by...
Okay, get mics, take one. Keep rolling.
Yes, it is time. It's time to release your inner storyteller. The monster. The diva. The comedian. The mock announcer. The character. And so much more. To charm, seduce, ignite, and excite. Let's play. GetMiked.com.
Great job, that's a wrap.
Who's that voice?
I beg your pardon.
Do you have a knack for knowing a voice? Can you recognize a voice with your eyes closed?
Oh, I just rescued a tiger.
VO Radio wants to give you a chance to win free coaching, online courses, and other great stuff.
Greetings, Earthlings.
Listen to Let's Talk VO and VO2B for the weekly voice of the day.
There's a secret mission.
Then fill out the Who's That Voice contest entry, and you'll be added into our weekly drawing on the Let's Talk VO Live the following Monday.
I think that I've lived like 3 lives.
Now let's test your ability to recognize a voice with this week's Who's That Voice?
All right, I hand it back to you, Stacey. Why don't you go ahead and set us up and tell them what they need to do, and then we'll play the clip.
Okay. Well, first of all, I want to say that last time's winner was Tracy Ann Lee, and she won a free intermediate online course at VO 101 with Anthony Reese. And the voice was William Shatner.
Oh, Captain Quake.
And ironically, the clip that we had, I mean, anyone can recognize, William Shatner's voice, but that one was a little more difficult, that particular clip, I think.
Yeah, and there was only three people that got it right, believe it or not. I couldn't,
because it doesn't have his same weird staccato pattern.
Yeah, exactly. And so we randomly drew, and it was, of course, the winner was Tracy Ann Lee for being the player in our Who's That Voice. All right.
And so what you have to do to win, all you have to do is go to the radio website at voradioonline.com, go to listeners, down to contests, and submit the name of whoever you think the voice is for this contest right now, for the new one. So, okay, the prize we have now is a digital webinar download at VoiceOver Extra by John John Florian. So very exciting. Okay, let's play it.
All right, let's go for it. And I want to point out, Sharon had emailed earlier, the beginning of the show, when you guys play that Who's That Voice clip later, which is right now, are we supposed to name the character or the actor? It is the actor typically. So the actor may be doing a character, like what was it, Tom Hanks doing Woody or whatever. You're supposed to name the actor or the actor's voice or whoever the voice belongs to realistically. So nice question. All right, let's go for it. Get your ears on and here we go.
But I knew how to keep the bosses happy. Whenever they gave me little jobs to do, to send a message, I would carry things out to a T.
All right.
That's a good one.
And I only gave a small
Isn't that
bite
you,
because
Anthony? Isn't that you?
Am I funny? How am I funny? But anyways,
oh my God, that was pretty
extra
good.
little bonus there for you. So yeah, that's it. All you got to do now is, we only gave you 5 seconds on purpose because that one I think is, maybe I'm biased, but I think that one's pretty easy, man. So
unless you're young.
Yeah.
There you go. There's your Who's That Voice. Your chance is go to the website, go to the listener tab, go down to where it says contest, fill out the form, hit submit. And you too could be a winner like Tracy and Lee. And you're going to be able to get that digital webinar download at VoiceOver Extra thanks to John Florian. So,
and here's a hint without giving it away. Just watch that famous movie, My Cousin Beep.
You just gave it away for sure. All right. Hey, let's take a quick break.
I just want to say it's Tracy Ann Laith. So it's TH at the end. So Laith. So
it's
everybody.
Laith. So it's not Leahy. It's not Lay. It's Laith.
Thank you for correcting us.
You're welcome.
We were
Thank
stressing
you.
about that.
And sorry about that, Tracy. And
Had a
Laith.
typo, Trace.
We now know. All right. Let's go ahead and take a quick break. We're going to come back with one more question. So stick around. Don't go nowhere.
This week's Events and Happenings is brought to you by...
Okay, get mic'd, take one. Keep rolling.
Yes, it is time. It's time to release your inner storyteller. The monster. The diva. The comedian. The mock announcer. The character. And so much more. To charm, seduce, ignite, and excite. Let's play. GetMiked.com.
Great job, that's a wrap.
Hey, y'all. This is Ali, chef with Events and Happenings, Audio Publishers Association 2025 in New York, March 2nd and 3rd. Go to audiopub.org and go to APA-conference for more information. VO Atlanta, the voiceover conference that is the world's largest and longest running voiceover conference, will be happening March 20th through 23rd at the Hilton Atlanta Airport. Go to voatlanta.me to learn more. Also, if you want to go somewhere pretty cool, Get Mic'd. Well, they've got their Ultimate VO Survivor Weekend Retreat, and that will be June 27th through June 30th. It is an opportunity for workshops, panels, team building, risk-taking, awakening, adventure, pool, spa, fire pit, character, Oki games. It is a lot of fun. It's a retreat, and I highly recommend it. And as always, folks, if you have an event or you have a happening that you would like us to announce and share with the VO radio community, please reach out to us. Have a great day.
It has been said that all the world is a stage. Like characters in a movie, game, play, or cartoon, we all have a backstory. And VO Radio wants to hear yours. Every Monday, VO Radio wants to listen to your story on Let's Talk VO. Simply go to the What's Your Story section of our website, fill out the form, tell us your story, and if selected, you'll be interviewed live on Let's Talk VO here on VO Radio. What's your story? Tell us yours. What's your story? We want to know. VO Radio. It's here for you.
Let's Talk VO Live on VO Radio. Interact with the show by texting 970-682-3424 or email your question to the show using the app email icon, radio player window, ask a question button, or send an email to ask@voradioonline.com. Let's Talk VO Live on VO Radio. It's here for you.
All right, are we muted again? Let me hit.
Yes, I'm muted. It's
There
like
we go.
Either
I
that
need
or
a
I just went
crown.
deaf.
I need a crown that says you're muted. Yes, I know.
You need an on-air sign. You need.
I know.
Right? Exactly.
A little something. Unmute me
Can
from you.
someone please invent that on Zoom for us, please? We need an on-air sign for Bev.
If
That would
the,
be
if the
perfect.
board op guy was better, he'd be able to unmute all or ask to unmute and everyone would be notified. So maybe
Board ops.
know,
I should
right?
start
Board
paying
ops.
him more.
Overpaid.
At least I
Board
realized.
ops?
Okay, everybody.
Board ops?
We are back. Honest, we are. And just to reiterate, if you want to participate, you just go to the website, voonlineradio.com, and then you can go down to listeners and say participate. You get to, the day in the life, what's your story, the audition underground. There's all kinds, plus the contests, all part of what you get to do. And we would love you to be part of this show. We love it when people pop in. And you can, so the text us questions like we've had today, 970-682-3424, 970-682-3424, or email us at ask@voradioonline.com. Join us by phone, by Zoom. Do something. Come and join us. We love it. We've had a lot. We had them on the Tubies. We've had people on the Wednesday.
Yeah.
Our winner, Tracy Ann, was actually here live on a couple of the shows. So we love it when you join and participate in the community. It helps us grow and it helps you grow. So we love to see you. Anthony,
You
we
ready
have
to do
another
another
question.
Yeah, let's do that.
The best music ever made.
If you're like most voice talent today, you're wondering various things relating to your voiceover career. Well, VO Radio has your answers. Here's more questions answered by our panelists live on Let's Talk VO here on VO Radio.
Listen and learn. Internet radio for the voice artist, just like you.
All right. So we're just, okay, here it is. This is from Barb from Texas. And this is a great question. How many auditions are important as a minimum each week or month? So, very, very quickly, my comment to that is you do as many auditions as you have time for. And I say that in an effect that I know when I was on online casting, when I first started, it's like, oh, I have to get as many auditions as I could, but it didn't necessarily mean they were the best auditions. So when I say do as many auditions as you have time for, I mean, if you have time for quality auditions.
Yeah,
When you get, and you start to be a little more picky, be, specific about the auditions you're trying to get. You don't just go, oh, here's another audition, I'll do that. Wait, I have to speak Spanish. Let me try. Don't. Leave it to the people that speak Spanish. Don't pretend. And then you get into when you get agents. And when you get agents, you do as many as they send you. A lot of, if your agent is someone who sends them to you because they think you're the right fit. Right? If you have conflicts, you let your agent know, can't do that, I have a conflict. But at least you respond in some way. Peter, I'm going to go to you next.
Is it genre based too? But if you're talking about e-learning, how many auditions are you getting for e-learning? It's going out and finding that work and being direct. Commercials, obviously you have audition for those. How many do you do? As you just said, Bev, it's you want to make sure they're good. So years ago, I was on Voice 123, and I'd be doing 40 a day. How good could they possibly be? It's like not very. So it is staging it out, figuring out what auditions are good for you. What age range. Your life experience. Can you bring something to this piece of copy that it might be a little extra because you can really relate to it? Maybe do that one first, and then do the other one that you have to sort of make it up as you go along. That to me is looking at them and trying to figure out prioritize them. That's the word I'm looking for. Prioritize them. Yeah.
Stacy, you look like you're trying to unmute there.
You know, it's all about planting seeds. So if you're not planting any seeds, you know, you're not going to have, you know, a lot of growth there. So, and the timing is also not up to you. So, who knows when they're going to make the casting decisions for those projects and all that. So you want to constantly have something that you're auditioning for, so you can just put it out there in the VO universe. So hopefully it'll come back to you super soon. So just do what you feel like doing, so you're still into it. If you're not in the mood one day, don't do it. But if there's like an average that you can achieve in a certain week, just plant those seeds as often as you can.
Nice. Debbie? Deb?
I would say thank you either way is good. Deb means you like me. I like that. So I think personally it depends on your experience level. So if you're a beginner, I never would worry about how many am I getting. However, I do want to tell you, if I don't have enough each week, it's a numbers game still for me. You know, I might be good at what I do, but that doesn't mean I book every audition. So if I don't have enough to have a ratio, then I'm going to be in lots of trouble. You need enough to have a ratio. But if you're beginning, I just need you to be grateful that you got an audition. I don't care if it's one audition or if it's 10 auditions. You're working towards auditioning for a living, period. And so I don't disagree with anything that was said. Quality is absolutely first. That's period. That goes above anything else. But I do believe that you do need the odds of auditions, whether you're creating it yourself or whether you're booking it off of agents or pay to play or anywhere else. But again, don't bypass that quality factor. So I don't think you have to worry about how many numbers, and don't feel that you're not a good enough talent if you're not getting those numbers, guys. It's more about getting yourself out there and earning that way. And that's an earnship that happens over time.
Peter, did you want to add something?
Yeah, I just really quickly on what Deb said, as far as the ratio, you know, in the old days when you actually went to studios and auditioned, and you know, people going in and out of New York, Chicago, LA, wherever they lived in those major markets, and they actually auditioned, they would have to go in numerous times a week, 5, 10, whatever, how many auditions they could squeeze in physically, because they had to go there. Then as the internet,
Don LaFontaine bought his limousine because he was
that's
doing
why he bought his lot.
jobs
5
and
men in a limo. Go watch that on YouTube. 5 men in a limo. It's a blast. But with what you were saying, Deb, as far as the internet and more voiceover people doing what they're doing, that ratio used to be 40-1. Then it went to 100-1. Where is it now? You know, and that's why quality. What you're saying,
diluted, right? It's diluted.
Yeah, it's very diluted. But quality is what you're saying. That will cut through more than just doing a whole bunch of them.
Perfect. Anthony, last
You know,
final word?
I think everything you've said, Deb and Peter and Stacy, I could just say ditto. Basically, it's about quality. It's about not quantity of how many you can put out. It's not like going in the casino and pulling the slot and pushing the button as fast as you can. It's about $3 or $4 or $5 bets, not 50-cent bets, because you're going to increase your odds of landing one if you put more time into it. It's about investing in the audition. Take time to invest in the audition. I used to believe, and I would audition thinking I already won. And I would send them what I felt was a Super Bowl audition. I wouldn't just rip and read it. I wouldn't just send it a mediocre numbers game type audition. I would think of it as, this is mine, and I'm going to send out my winning track. Then all they have to do is pay me. And that's my mindset was behind it. I was about quality, and I would prioritize, like Peter said. I would go through my agent stuff first, my website driven stuff, my private invites, prioritize them based on the time you have allotted per day, based on your JOB. So it's priority, it's quality, it's putting in quality time, investing in the audition, and at the same time, pick and choose. I did a video years ago with Voice.com, and it was called Mirror, Mirror on the Wall. And it's out there floating around still somewhere, but it's basically look in the mirror and be honest with yourself. Is this right for me? If it is, it goes on the priority list. If it isn't, it goes into, well, I have nothing to do on board. There's 7 auditions I didn't get to today. Throw them out there then. But the reality is, take your time, think quality, think good audition, think investment, and prioritize them. And at the end of the day, it is a numbers game. But at the same time, it's not a numbers game like closing your eyes and playing darts and just throwing it at the dartboard and seeing where it sticks. It's about knowing how many shots you got and take each one of the shots and make them the best shot you can, if that's the way you want to say it. So
I'm just going to add, Barb, I just want to add that when you're starting out, if I don't know where you are in your journey, but when you're starting out, it's important, certainly on online casting, you see the auditions. Even if you just have a free profile, you see the auditions. Look at what they're asking for. Watch if the trend, even if it's not right for you, are the trends changing? You can learn a lot by reading it and not actually doing the auditions. So how many auditions are important? All of them that cross your desk. How many do you actually submit? What everyone has.
You know, it's funny because you took words right out of my mouth. I was just speaking with a talent of mine the other day, a student of mine who's been out there for a while. And besides the whole prioritizing and pick and choose properly and all that, what I did was said, you don't have to submit. I think I got into a little bit of a scuffle in the past with somebody and over, you don't have to submit. You can practice those. If they you don't think it's right for you, like Bev was just saying, there's nothing wrong with practicing it. And then find a coach you trust or a confidant or a unicorn like Bev Standing or someone who's willing to give you 2 minutes at a time and shoot you advice and feedback. You don't have to submit it, but you can go ahead and take advantage of the ears and practice it. And then when you get to the point of where maybe you're better at delivering commercial or narrative or audiobooks or characters or whatever, you can start to then submit stuff out there. So yeah, really good thought there. I just had that conversation.
Why don't you take us out on a break and we'll be right back.
Sounds good. We'll be back. We'll wrap things up.
This week's TNVO News Minute is brought to you by
Street Smart Coaching.
That's what you get at VO 101.
Hi, I'm Anthony Reese, 35-year veteran, casting director, producer, and voiceover coach here at VO 101.
Whether a beginner or veteran voice talent,
you'll find everything you need to get your career started or take your career to the next level. Training, website design, YouTube channel creation, voiceover demos, video demos, a free evaluation, and even a free training area.
Get Street Smart Coaching at VO 101.
That's VO101.com.
VO101.com.
This is Christy Bowen with the Tennessee VoiceOver Studios News Minute. As we welcome in a new year, the big news dominating the voiceover industry are the LA fires and the amazing relief efforts by our community. The NAVA Foundation has set up a CAL FIRE Relief Fund that is collecting donations to help those in need. Other groups from around the country have also set up equipment donation drives, offered discounted or free recording spaces, and so much more. Please help if you can. Voice actors are sounding the alarm that a site called 101 Soundboards is using unauthorized AI versions of their voices without consent, compensation, or control. This egregious behavior underscores the need for federal protections of our voices. NAVA, the National Association of Voice Actors, is working on the issue on behalf of our industry. VO Atlanta has released the schedule for the March 20th through 23rd conference taking place at the Hilton Atlanta Airport again this year. As of January 18th, small group X sessions will also be available for purchase. This year's keynote speaker is Amari Williams. This has been your VO Radio Online News Minute brought to you by Tennessee VoiceOver Studios. To find out more about classes, demo production, and private coaching, visit our website, tnvoiceoverstudios.com.
VoiceOverCollective.com. Make sure you book that website, because since 2011, it has been helping voice actors much like yourself navigate our industry. And there's a boatload of info on that website. But what you may not know is that the front page is updated every single month throughout the year, often with exclusive discounts that can only be found there. The VOC newsletter is only released when important updates need to go out. So why don't you set sail with the VoiceOver Collective today?
Internet radio for voiceover talent at any level.
Have you done it yet? Downloaded the new VO Radio app? If not, check out the new apps we created that are now for iPhone and Android.
I'm sorry, operator, I can't hear you. I'm trying to use the phone!
Now you can listen to VO Radio anytime, 24/7 worldwide on your phone.
Are you not entertained?
Download the new VO Radio app from our app section of the website.
Toto, I have a feeling we're not in Kansas anymore.
Or click on the app link located on the player window, VO Radio apps. They're here for you. Download yours today.
Whether a beginner or veteran voice talent, there's something for everyone. This is VO Radio. Let's Talk VO Live on VO Radio. Interact with the show by texting 970-682-3424 or email your question to the show using the app email icon, radio player window, ask a question button, or send an email to ask@voradioonline.com. Let's Talk VO Live on VO Radio. It's here for you.
All right, that wraps another installment up of Let's Talk VO here on VO Radio. I want to thank my panelists, of course, Deb Monroe, Bev Standing, Stacey Barrow, and Peter Drew for chiming in and giving us their wisdom. I tell you, if you aren't listening, you should be listening to the on-demand and or encore every Tuesday and Thursday. So the live show today, the encore is Tuesday at 5 p.m. And then the live show Wednesday with its encore Thursday at 5 p.m. And don't forget joining us or VO Tubies on Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern, becoming pretty popular, actually. We have a handful of people every week want to be involved in it video-wise. So check it out for sure this coming Friday. Join us Wednesday as we welcome our special VIP guest, Angela Allfast. I hope I'm saying that. Allfast? I think it's Allfast, actually. Deb's the pronouncing queen around here, so I think it's Allfest. But
not really. I've just been worried about it longer.
I never was good at
Allfest. My guess is Allfest.
I think it's Allfest. I think Peter hit it early, right? So don't forget to check that out. Don't check out the listener area like Bev Standing was talking about, and we're going to run the whole real quick and wrap up things, starting with you, Bev Standing. What's your final thoughts?
Life-work balance, everybody. I'm going to say it again. I've said it a number of times. If you need a break, go get some fresh air. Where I live, it's spring. It's beautiful. It may only be 2 degrees, but the sun is shining and there's no wind and the snow is melting and it's pretty outside. So even if you just take a 15-minute walk, get outside. Do something for you. If your life is in order, your work will flow better.
Nice. What you said. Deb Monroe?
I just want to piggyback off of that and say every day is beautiful. Even the bad days, I know, but always look for that speck of light. It makes it more beautiful. But I do have a couple shameless plugs, even though I really wanted to say that. Number one, we have room in our workshop. It's only $100, guys. It's a 3.5 hour workshop with Ellie and I. It's 2 directors. It's on Wednesday. It's all about auditioning. Commercial auditions is our focus this week. So hopefully you guys can join us at getmiked.com, MICD.com. And also, I keep forgetting to tell people I will be at Atlanta. So I will be taking on privates and stuff like that, because I'm not doing a lot there, so I'll have lots of free time. So make sure you come and say hi to me on VO Radio's behalf. I know Bev's going to be there as well, so make sure you say hi to her as well. We will be there, and we're very friendly and happy and open, so don't be afraid to come say hi to us, and we'll see you guys there.
Very cool. Excited to have you and Bev there, as well as our own D. Elvis is going to be there as well. So
yes, he is as well.
It's going to be an awesome event. There's a lot of buzz around it this year. I don't know if it's Amari because it's a keynote or what's going on, but I can't believe how many people saying they're going to excited about going this year. So, and Jay Michael was telling me the other day that's sold out. It's like that capacity this time. So, Stacey Barrow, top of mind. What do you got? Final thoughts?
Okay, 2 things. One, Deb, do people bring their own copy to the workshop? Or
they're always welcome to, but we also have 5 selected ones. We try to not do a multitude of them, so I do think it's good to hear people doing the same audition sometimes. There's lots of different things to learn, so you do get a choice this time, but you can use your own if you want to, for sure.
I just want for Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Allfest. I have to say, our VIP guest, I'm so excited. I'm verklempt. I feel like my eyes are going to water because when I was like, before I was even new, I scoured YouTube like I always talked about, and I saw everything I could, and I was really drawn to her videos. She had a ton of videos. Her focus was audiobooks, but I just learned so many little things just to start by her, and about Adobe Audition or thinking about audiobooks or narration in general. And she's super, how do I say this, down to earth, like a regular person that you can relate to. She just has like a lot of really helpful videos, and I'm so excited for this opportunity to actually say hello, because when you're new, you know, you just hang on to what people say to you, and she is so cool, and I can't wait to bring her into the community that we have here. So can't wait.
Awesome. Yep, that'll be, of course, Wednesday at 5 p.m. Eastern. Peter Drew, final thoughts, and we'll wrap up.
Just going back to what Bev and Deb were saying about, you know, each day and how to take it. Take a news break. Right now, the news is overwhelming, and
yeah, good
if you're
point.
feeling, you know, whether you're on the Canadian side of the border or the American side of the border. It's overwhelming. So take a news break and just relax. The world will still be there, you know.
Here.
Too, you know.
Yeah.
And we still love each other, right, everyone?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Let them fight it out.
Yeah. So that not to get the politics of it, but just the status of how things are. Don't let it overwhelm you. That's all.
Awesome. Way to go. All right. There you go. Another installment of Let's Talk VO. Thanks for listening to VO Radio. We're on our way out. Make sure to check out the encore tomorrow at 5 p.m. Everybody waving goodbye as we go out.
Take care, everybody.
Hey, everybody.